Once more, good afternoon, and thank you for joining our community update. My name is Ari Obenson, President and CEO of the International Institute of St. Louis, and we are at our third community update. First of all, I want to thank you all for this collaboration. We see the effort of welcoming the Afghans as a community effort, and as we continue to see an outpour of support from the community, from some of you, all of you actually, because that's the essence why you're here. But we've also seen significant contributions and support from the community, and we just want to highlight that. Secondly, the circumstances keep changing. We thought that things were going to slow down, but it really, the dynamics of the information that we're getting, the numbers that we're looking at continue to change, and we're going to have a brief update on those details. We continue to highlight the need for collaboration by way of providing answers and solutions to some of the foreseeable challenges, particularly in the area of housing. And I know that we're going to have a working group that will continue looking into that. But there's going to be great need for us to have even more volunteers step up in the community, and particularly in the area of even immigration services. So those are just some general trends that we're seeing. We are very, very close to arrivals. I've not checked this morning to see whether we have had any specific details on when that first group of arrivals will be, but we believe it's going to be this weekend or very early next week. The date at which we had been looking at was October 6th. I don't know that has changed. So we know that the first big arrivals is really very, very close. And Blake would give an update. Blake Hamilton will give an update on those potential numbers and the changes that have happened in the last few weeks. But with that, we started last week with the breakout session, so we're going to maintain the breakout sessions. And this time around, we think that we want to keep these breakout sessions to grow into working groups, so that it's not just about you hearing from us about updates or things that we want to do, but we also want to hear from you. We want your own solutions and how you can be involved and participate and take ownership of the process as well. And so when we go into the breakouts, we will create the opportunities to hear from everyone who joins the breakout groups, and we want to maintain a working list of people in those groups. And if your organization would like to be in more than one of the working groups, please feel free to assign another person from your organization, so that way you have a lot more information and can be able to participate in the process. With that, the first thing we're going to do is the weekly updates, and I'm going to turn that to Senior Vice President and President of the Community Development Corporation here at the International Institute, Blake Hamilton.
Thank you, Ray. Welcome all again to our third weekly update. We'll briefly go through some of the top line items here before jumping into our resettlement breakout groups, and then want to wrap this up with Q&A. We kind of got abbreviated Q&A sessions the last couple of times, so I want to make sure we're building in enough time for those questions to get answered. So we'll dive right into the weekly update. And there is some big news this week. This week, we saw on Saturday that through the continuing resolution, Afghan parolees were granted access to public benefits, as well as benefits made regularly available to refugees through the Office of Refugee Resettlement. This is a major development in the sense that it provides access for these folks to publicly established systems that are there to support refugees and other Americans. So that includes Afghans having access to a resettlement allowance, same as refugees, that will help cover costs associated with rent, utilities, pocket money, paying bills, etc. That same resettlement allowance is made available to refugees, and that lasts up to 90 days. Additionally, Afghan parolees will now have access to Medicaid and refugee medical assistance, which is another sigh of relief for us as an organization. It means that we'll be able to connect folks to the refugee medical assistance when Medicaid is now unavailable, thanks to Medicaid expansion. We do expect more folks to be able to access Medicaid, but refugee medical assistance will now be made available to Afghan parolees should it be needed. Likewise, refugee cash assistance, which is a form of TANF, temporary assistance for needy families, will be made available to Afghan parolees prior to obtaining work. This will allow them to have some pocket money to pay incidental bills, etc., as well as access to SNAP, another major side relief for us as an organization. The fact that folks will be able to access food assistance where needed. This designation also makes Afghan parolees available for other ORR, or Office of Refugee Resettlement, programs that are available through contracts that the federal government engages with nationwide. Locally, the International Institute does offer career pathway services, as well as refugee support services, which go beyond that 90-day resettlement period and provides help in folks accessing or overcoming barriers to health in order to access employment, as well as direct access to employment, as well as matching grant and incentivized work program that focuses on getting those folks eligible for work, access to work quickly in order to help pay bills, as well as our preferred community programs, which is designed to connect folks with particular health and mental health needs to those services in a timely way. So we are very, very pleased with this development, and I know many around this table advocated at the national level, at the local level as well, to put pressure on our representatives to support this. And we even have representatives on the call today from Congresswoman Bush's office, and we want to say thank you very much for your efforts. This is how we truly welcome people and set them up for success in the long term. These are short-term supports that have long-term impacts and generational impacts. So thank you so much to everyone for their efforts in advocating in this. Another update here is around our revised proposal for Afghan resettlement. The International Institute, as I mentioned the last time, was approached by our national voluntary organization, USCRI, around a number of Afghan parolees that we'd be able to resettle into the community. And back in August, when we were initially approached, we'd said that we would be able to resettle 350. And of course, that was prior to this news breaking. After Saturday, we were reapproached by USCRI to ask how many we might be able to assist in light of this news of access to these publicly available benefits. And with that, we felt confident increasing our total to 500 from 350. So another 150 slots that we've raised our hand to say that we could help resettle. And the reason we're able to make that decision wasn't just based on the benefits that are available. It is because of you, is because of the support that we have been able to get in the community, the folks who have stepped up and stepped into this space to provide their collaboration support in doing this work of resettling these parolees. And so we increase our regional capacity to support folks when we engage in spaces like these and ensure that needs are met by organizations that are well positioned to meet those needs. And so to Betsy's question, I think I saw in the chat, she asked me, I guess, does that include SIVs or is it in addition? This is all Afghan parolees. We are not talking in this instance about SIVs. And so this is another 150 on top of the 1,400 that we have been speaking about, which is the combined number of refugees, parolees, and special immigrant visa holders. That number now that we expect to resettle in this federal fiscal year, which we are now in, is now up to 1,500. That is the number where we sit at today. So we're very excited to be able to support this many folks, and we have the feeling here that this is not going to be the last time that we'll be approached, that refugee resettlement agencies across the country have been asked multiple times now by their national voluntary agencies to reconsider that number. There will be pressure to increase the number through the year, and we will do that where we feel that we have the capacity to do this. And limiting factors in our ability to resettle more include access to affordable housing, transportation. These remain issues for us, even in light of the continuing resolution and the access to benefits that are available. There's still structural challenges that we face as a region, which we need to mitigate in order to be able to effectively serve more individuals who are entering our community. That 500 number, though, more information about that. We've been told that we can functionally expect the bulk of that resettlement to happen in a 20-week time frame. And over that 20 weeks, that comes out to about 25 Afghan parolee arrivals per week. And now, as Array mentioned, we still haven't seen any allotment for parolee arrivals this week, so that stretches that number a little bit more. And every day that goes by that we don't get those assurances, we know that we'll be seeing them a little bit later in the program year. But we were asked to describe our capacity on a weekly basis of welcoming specifically parolees. And we went ahead and said that we'd be able to welcome about 25 Afghans per week. Now, that is in addition, right now we are in the moratorium for refugee arrivals. So refugees are not being resettled through the third country resettlement system for the first 2 weeks in October, to give organizations like ours capacity to serve what we're being told is going to be a larger number of Afghans in this first 2 week period of the fiscal year. So once we get out of this 2 week period, that will be 25 Afghan individuals arriving per week, on top of the additional 1,050 refugees and SIVs we expect to arrive throughout the course of the year. If you expand that 1,050 across 52 weeks, that's about 20 arrivals per week. So functionally, we know that there's peaks and valleys when it comes to refugee resettlement. And we've been saying this within the context of these calls, there'll be peaks and valleys when it comes to the volume of arrivals for Afghan parolees as well. But it means that on a weekly basis, we could be seeing up to 45 or possibly 50 arrivals on a weekly basis during this first 20 weeks of the federal fiscal year. This is an incredibly busy time, and to put that in perspective, we have resettled about 100 folks in the last 2 months of the just ended federal fiscal year. From the beginning of July through the end of September, we resettled about 104 individuals. So we're talking about it very much increasing capacity very quickly. One other limit to our ability to do this is our ability to meet the contract. And that requires us to ensure that we have staffing at an appropriate level to provide the support. And right now we are down several staff members and are relying more heavily on volunteers from the community and partnerships with community organizations to help us fulfill the basic terms of this contract. We would appreciate it greatly if you could echo our need for staff members in your circles. We do have open positions, which we'll be putting in the chat, the link to our open positions on our webpage. We have reached the new federal fiscal year, which means we have new budgets for our programs, and we are seeing expanded budgets, which those budgets will primarily be used to hire staff to administer services. However, we all know the struggle that hiring is right now across all sectors. So we greatly appreciate any efforts to amplify our message around hiring and the fact that we are open and seeking support from individuals who are committed to doing this work.